Hi everyone, my name is Jaime and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, I make videos about knitting and fibre arts. Today's video is going to be a knitting podcast, so super chill. I'm just going to talk about my recent WIPs and finished objects, which I have quite a lot to discuss since it's been a little while since I've done one of these, so we have much to catch up on. I like to do these videos every couple of months or so. It really just depends on how much I'm working on, just to, you know, document everything that I'm working on and give you a little bit of insight into my process and how I feel about the different pieces that I'm making and really just show them off, honestly. Before we get into everything, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for 5,000 subscribers on this channel. I won't bore you with a whole speech, but I really appreciate it and I'm excited to see that this channel is starting to grow. It's been kind of slow going as my posting hasn't always been the most consistent, but I'm really proud that this year I've posted, I think, almost every week. I think I've had 1 week that I've missed out of the whole year. So I'm glad to see that that has reflected in some growth of the channel, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the content that I'm putting out. And yeah, I really appreciate all of you who have been watching all those videos, and also if you're new here, I appreciate you too. If you aren't subscribed, feel free to do that. It really helps me out and lets me know that you want to see more videos from me. I did want to do a little special something to celebrate 5,000 subscribers, so I've decided to do a pattern sale on my website only, just for my YouTube subscribers or anyone watching this video. The sale will be for 25% off any of my patterns, excluding the patterns that are in my book. And that's only because I'm not allowed to put the book patterns on sale, so I'm really sorry about that. But any of the other, I think, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20 patterns that I have on my website that aren't from my book, you'll be able to tell because the book ones are the ones with like the professional photos and all the other ones are the ones that don't have professional photos that are just taken on my phone. It should be pretty obvious, but if the code doesn't work, then that's most likely because it's a book pattern. But you can use the code YouTube to get 25% off any of those patterns that I released prior to my book. So I'll put all that information in the description so you can get the link and the code and how long it'll be active for and all of that. But yeah, I just thought I would do a little sale. I don't do sales very often, so this one is exclusive. Only if you're watching this video will you know the code. So yeah, if you want to make any of my patterns, including this one that I'm wearing, which brings me to my next topic, you can get 25% off. So yeah, this one is the pretzel pullover, if you were wondering. This is one of my favorites. It's super cozy. I'm so excited to start to wear this more now that the weather is very much cooling down here in Australia. Okay, enough rambling. Let's get straight into the WIPs portion of the video, which is going to be a lot shorter than the FOs because I don't have a lot of WIPs at the moment. I've finished a lot of projects recently and I haven't really been working on a ton of things. It's really strange. Sometimes I go from like working on so many things at once and like never finishing anything to then just like finishing a bunch of stuff and then I'm like, oh god, I have like nothing to work on. And like right now it's weird because normally I'm like so excited to cast something new on, but right now, I don't know, I'm like overwhelmed by the idea of casting something on. I don't know what it is about just like the state that I'm in. Like it might change next week, but like this is just like how I'm feeling at the moment. So I don't have that many WIPs to show you, but I have a lot of finished objects, so still plenty of things to talk about. I will also say that there are other projects that I definitely have not finished that are sitting in the bucket that I'm currently looking at on the other side of my room that I haven't touched in months, and I honestly just don't feel like talking about them because there's no progress that's been made on them since the last time I showed them to you, and I don't know if there ever will be. There's a few projects I need to kind of reassess whether or not I still want to make them, but yeah, so these are just the projects I've actually been actively working on. First of which is a pair of socks. This is the first one that I've already finished. This one took me, I think, 2 or 3 days to finish, which is definitely a record for me for socks. Like I swear I normally take so long to make socks. Usually one will take a lot longer than the other, so I don't know, maybe the second sock will take me forever to finish, especially if I start something else. Then I probably am gonna end up maybe not working on this as much, but I'm kind of determined to finish them quickly, like just to have a new pair of socks that I started and finished in a short amount of time. Like socks aren't meant to take so long, but I think just often I use them as like only when I'm going out or only when I just want to bring a small project and I don't work on them that frequently, which leads to them taking forever. They're like pretty much never my primary project, if that makes sense. So that's most likely why, but these ones have just taken me so quick. I don't know if it's like the colors because I'm absolutely obsessed with this yarn. That could be it, or just like that fact that I'm not really working on anything else at the moment. So I don't know what it is, but I literally finished this in like 2 days and I've already, spoiler alert, started the second sock and I've just started to work the heel, but like literally just. So the pattern that I'm working is from this book The Sock Project by Summer Lee from Summer Lee Knits, which I bought when it came out, I don't know, a few months ago, I think. Yeah, I've had this for a couple of months, but I've finally gotten around to casting on something. And it is the first of many socks from this book that I'll be making, that is for sure. And I just decided to start with the first pattern in the book because I'd been wanting to use this yarn for so long. I bought it about a year ago at the She's Crafty Market in Melbourne. And I bought it from this beautiful dyer. Her business was called Lovely Little Yarns, I think. And unfortunately, she's actually closed her business, so she's no longer selling her beautiful, beautiful hand-dyed yarn, which is a shame because I hadn't heard of her business before seeing her at the market, and I only bought one skein, but if I'd known that she wasn't gonna, you know, be at any future markets or just like operating in general, I definitely would have bought more. So I'm a bit sad about that because her yarn is just so up my alley. Like, obviously, I mean, I'll show you the actual cake as well. It's just stunning. Like, oh my goodness, so beautiful. Colors, everything is just me in a skein, you know? I always love a good, beautiful pink pastel colorway, and she had so many and I only bought one. So I don't even remember what this was called, but like I said, you can't get the yarn anymore, so there's not really a point into telling you the colorway because I don't remember it. But I knew I wanted to use this yarn because I've had it caked up for a long time, kind of like knowing that I would cast on a pair of socks, but then just never got around to it. So I wanted to cast something on, and just because there's so many colors to this, I decided to go with a basic sock rather than something that had, you know, any kind of stitch pattern or anything, because I just wanted to, firstly, I just have like a mindless sock knit, and yeah, just to let the colors really shine through. So I ended up going with the basic sock. She has a bunch of different versions of this pattern, all with a different heel, but I just went with the basic sock number 1, which is the heel flap and gusset, which I'm pretty sure I've never done before, and if I have, it was like years and years and years ago. I don't even remember it. So since I've like started sock knitting like properly, which was like last year, I've done the German short row heel twice, and I've done the Flegel heel, which I'll show you in one of my finished objects. But I've never done this one, and she says it's her favorite. I definitely see why. It's very quick and easy to work up, and in terms of, you know, durability and like this, you know, ensuring the socks will last, I think it's great because, as you can see, it's got this kind of like slip stitched edge along the, is that the gusset? I always forget the names. The heel flap, not the gusset, the heel flap. So that I think is going to be good for, especially considering I wear my knitted socks all the time, and that's why I'm trying to build up my collection, I guess. Hopefully this will ensure that they last. But I will say it's not my favorite in terms of how it looks. Like, I just think it looks a bit, I can't really think of the right word, but like aggressive. That's the only word I can think of. It's definitely not the right word because that's just not the right adjective that you should be using to describe how a knit looks, but it just looks, I don't know, aggressive is the only word I can think of. So if someone knows the word I'm actually thinking of, please tell me. But yeah, like, it just, I don't know, it doesn't look as like dainty and graceful. None of these words make any sense. It doesn't look as elegant. I don't know what the right word is, but I don't know. It just, something's off about it for me, but I don't think it will be very visible when I'm wearing them, especially when I'm wearing them with shoes. So, you know, it's fine. But yeah, for aesthetic purposes, it's not my favorite, but that doesn't mean that I hate it. It's just not necessarily my absolute favorite aesthetic wise, but yeah, so I've started the second one already, finished the cuff and the leg, and now I'm moving on to the heel. Okay, I almost wasn't going to include this because I haven't worked on it in a little while, but I looked back and I've definitely worked on it since the last podcast, so I do still want to update you on it, even though it hasn't been one of my most active WIPs as of super recent. But honestly, I don't know what it is about this project. I don't even know when I started it. It was definitely, I want to say last year, like sometime towards the end of last year. I don't really know. This has taken me forever. I don't know why. It makes no sense. It shouldn't take this long. I think it's just like one of those projects that I just pick up when I feel like it and put down for a long period of time. And I've just kind of accepted that that's just gonna be what the situation is. So this is the Shrug It Off. I always want to say Shrug It Up. Shrug It Off shrug from Friday Knits. I've done like a whole sleeve. I can't remember what happened here. I think I put the stitches on hold. I can't remember if it's because I needed the needles. It probably was that. Or if I was getting concerned that I was running out of yarn and I haven't done the second sleeve. So I don't know. Honestly, started this so long ago, I can't even remember if I, you know, was knitting with less yarn than was recommended, or I don't really know, but yeah, it's just like a basic 2x2 rib, yeah? 2x2 rib. I worked on this a lot while I was away on my like 2 little weekends away. One was in Canberra and one in Rye. I vlogged both those weekends, so if you want to check those vlogs out if you haven't already, you can see more of me working on this. But I basically just got like the whole sleeve done on those trips. But I don't know, for some reason I just haven't been compelled to pick it back up, but I definitely will at some point. I'm using Woolen Works DK, which is not gonna be the first time that comes up in this video, in the colorway Birthday Balloons. It's super pretty. I don't know why, I haven't been working on this that much. I think because it's like Sleeve Island, you know, it's a struggle. Anyway, that's my progress on this. It is still really cute. I just have no idea when I'm actually gonna finish it. Okay, that's all I have for you for WIPs. Not a lot, but hopefully I'll cast something on soon. We're gonna move straight into finished objects because we have a lot, as I said. The first of which I almost forgot to include, but I definitely don't think I'd finished these when I did my last podcast. In fact, no, I definitely hadn't finished them. So I figured I'll show you them now, even though they're not really in the state that I would like them to be when I'm first showing them to you, because I didn't even take photos of these when I was done. I literally just was so excited to wear them, and I worn them so much that I'm not gonna take photos of them now because they're not looking their absolute best. Hopefully it's not noticeable on camera, but like they're not looking like how I'd want socks that I'm gonna be taking photos of to look, which is fine. It's a good sign that I've worn them a lot. But that is these DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry, or Drea Renee Knits. And I'll just show you the one. I mean, like, I think I'd finished one of them already when I did my last podcast, so I'm not really going to be showing you anything that you haven't seen if you saw that, except there's just 2 of them now, but I still thought I would include these in the podcast because I have finished them. But yeah, absolutely love this. I will say they've stretched quite a bit with wear. It's my first time making ribbed socks, so it was a bit kind of hard to gauge. They look like so thin, like not being worn. You can even see like the sole of the foot has like stretched so much, like just as is, it like sits so much more flat, whereas the front you like can't really see the pearl stitches, but at the back you can. So it's probably just a sign of wearing them a lot, so they've kind of molded. But yeah, anyway, that's these. I used the Woolen Works once again. Woolen Works is gonna come up so much in this. I used so much of her yarn. But this was in the Woolen Works sock yarn in the colorway Neon Lights that I bought sometime last year at a market, and I thoroughly enjoyed this colorway. It was so much fun to knit. So pretty. I love the little speckles throughout. Just gorgeous, and just made this like a super fun knit that I honestly didn't really want to finish in a way because I enjoyed knitting it so much, but I'm super happy that I did finish it because I'm enjoying wearing them a lot more than I enjoyed knitting them. So that's these. Highly recommend the pattern, very well written. It includes that Fleagle heel like I mentioned before. I also should mention that these are the first toe up socks that I've done, but yeah, the Fleagle heel was really cool to work up and looks really cool, especially in this 2x2 rib. Okay, I feel like some of these next few you may have seen already, so if I'm talking about things that you've kind of already seen in some past videos, hope you don't mind if I'm like repeating myself to an extent, but I'll be going into more detail about a lot of these projects now. So the next project I'm going to show you is one that if you watched my last week's video, which I definitely recommend you do if you're interested in seeing my whole process with blocking my knits. This is my latest design. I'm so excited to finally be able to say that. It's been so long since I've designed something and I've been able to show you, so I'm basking in it and all the excitement of this piece. It's just so good in my opinion. I'm so happy with how it came out. Sorry to like sound conceited, but I just love it so much, and I feel like I just want to make sure like the camera really gets all of it in all its glory. But yeah, I don't have a name for this right now. I currently, as I'm filming this, have a little suggestion box on my Instagram story, which obviously once this comes out you won't be able to contribute to, but I'm hoping to come up with a fun name with like some kind of heart related pun, or I don't know, something heart related basically, because it has these really cute lacy hearts across the bottom and the sleeves, so I wanted to incorporate that in the name. But yeah, it's just like a really cute summer tee with this like nice deep, I guess like a scoop neck with an applied I-cord finish. It's worked from the bottom up. Don't hate me, I promised you there was a reason. It is a raglan, so it's pretty uncommon to have a bottom up raglan, but I tried everything to figure out a way to do this lace heart stitch upside down essentially, and you just can't. Like, it has to be worked from the bottom up. It can't be worked from the top down, otherwise the hearts will be upside down. I tried to like flip it and reverse it and all these things, and it just it wasn't working. So forgive me if you're someone who absolutely loves knitting from the top down. I promise, give it a chance. It's really not that bad. It's still pretty much entirely knitted in the round except for the neckline, so it's still fine, you know. It's just a bit harder to try it on throughout, but other than that, it's fine. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this has come out. I knitted up in the DK Merino from Wool & Works, the same yarn that I used for that Shrug. It's her old DK base. I'm not sure if she kind of mentioned to me that she might bring it back. She's recently brought in a different DK base instead of this one, but I'm not sure if she's bringing this one back or not, but it's just like a standard DK Merino, to be honest. So any DK yarn really would work, but this is an old colorway Rufus. I've just got it right there behind me. Absolutely one of my favorites that she's done. It's so vibrant and bright and summery and so fun. I wish it was summer here so I could wear it, but it's not, so I'm just gonna have to keep this shelved until the weather gets warmer here. But yeah, I just wanted to do a tea pattern because I've hardly done any. I haven't done one in so long. It's probably been about 2 years since my last tea pattern, and yeah, I just kind of felt like doing something a bit summery. I was really hoping to get the testing call out a bit earlier, but this pattern took so much trial and error to get right. Like, I feel like just took a little peek behind the curtain. Like, I had to frog the Raglan shaping when I was about halfway through it. I had to frog it all, which was tragic and devastating because the decreases were too infrequent basically, and I needed to do more so that it wouldn't be too big basically. So that was the first thing that was quite a challenge to get right. And then once I got to the neckline shaping, I think I did 3 attempts before I got it right. So it just took me a lot longer in general to knit this than it should have. And then therefore that's just kind of delayed everything, honestly. I've been in the thick of pattern writing all week, grading and all that in spreadsheet hell. It's literally my least favorite part of this whole process is like all the maths because it hurts my brain and I'm really not mathematically inclined, but I do my best. I push through, you know, anything's possible. Like if you set your mind to it, even if it's not your strongest skill, it's definitely not mine. Never been a maths person, but we're trying, getting there. I really want to get this right. It's a different construction that I've ever done. I've never done a bottom-up raglan. I've never really done a raglan with this much neck shaping as well. So it's just a lot of new territory for me, and I want to just, yeah, make sure I'm actually like really like putting a lot of consideration into everything and getting it right. I am really excited about this. So that's that. Yay for designing things. Yay for getting a pattern out eventually. Hi, sorry, it's me from the future editing this video. I ended up getting my shit together basically, and I put the testicle out this morning. So if you want to apply, the link will be in the description. I ended up naming it the Heartstopper tea, which was suggested by a few people, and I love that show, so I went with that name. I'll hopefully be picking testers soon. Once the pattern is finished and has been tech edited, then I'll be able to get the pattern out to testers. So make sure to apply as soon as you can if you're interested in testing it. I didn't include that in the video at the time because I didn't know that I was gonna actually get my shit together and get the testicle out so soon, but I did, so yeah. Okay, up next is a test knit that I've done. I've actually got 2 test knits to show you in this podcast, but this is the first one. I did this about 2 months ago. I was probably working on it in the last podcast that I showed. So this is the finished thing, and this is the Heartless top, Heartless top on the heart theme, I guess, by Midsummer Knits. The pattern has not yet been released. I think a few of the testers needed a bit more time and things got a bit busy with her work schedule, so she's not really said exactly when this is going to be released, but hopefully it will be soon. I know this pattern's been super highly anticipated. It is actually her first pattern, so she did an incredible job. I simply could never have done something this good on my first attempt at writing a pattern. So yeah, it's this gorgeous summer tank top with a beautiful heart-shaped cutout in the middle with a I-cord edge around it. I knitted this up using, once again, DK Merino. This time from Ching Fibre. Had this yarn in my stash for so long, so I was so happy to finally find a project to use it for. I believe this is the colorway Sherbet. It's pretty similar to the Birthday Balloons colorway from Wool & Works, except it's got these dark pink and kind of mustard yellow speckles throughout, so I would say like that's the biggest difference between the two, but other than that they actually are really similar with like the beautiful pastel colors, variegation. Yeah, anyway, I haven't been able to wear it yet because it basically got cold as soon as I finished it, but we'll have it for next summer. It's definitely a little bit more, you know, it's not like spicy. Like this cutout is well above my bust area. But I don't know, just the idea of having like a cutout in the middle feels a little bit scandalous. I don't know. But it's giving Sabrina Carpenter vibes, which I absolutely love. She often wears like in her tour outfits and stuff. She often wears like a cute little dress or something with a heart cutout. So I'll be channeling my inner Sabrina. I don't have a ton to say about it. It's just really pretty, really cute, really well written. Highly recommend this pattern for when it does come out. Make sure you're following Emma at Midsummer Knits so that you'll know when it does come out. Okay, the next two that I'm going to show are both second samples, I guess, that I've done from my book, which if you didn't know, I have a book. I've mentioned it about 1,000 times already, but if just in case you didn't catch it, I do have a book. It's been out for over a month now in the US and Canada. It's called Fast and Fabulous Knits, and it comes out in the UK on May 13th, which is next week. So getting closer and closer to it being out, you know, worldwide. So yeah, Europe/UK is going to be, yeah, May 13th. Then Australia, it'll be out in July. I know. Still a while, but that's my book, Fast and Fabulous Knits. Link to buy it is in the description. I have my little display of books on the top of my shelf, and I love that for me. I decided that it was time to start making second samples, I guess, of some of the patterns. So far I've done 2. I'm definitely not going to be doing all of them, but it is fun to open up my own book and just like follow the pattern from there. So that was a super slay to be able to do that with both of these. And I specifically wanted to try like different yarns or really different color combinations or colors that I did the first time. So this is my second Lily cardigan, and I just want to make sure you get it in all its glory. This is she. Lily is very pretty, I must say. I knitted this second sample up using Woolenworks DK Suri Silk. That is one of her new bases that she's brought in with the Barbie collection, and this is the colorway Hi Barbie. Sorry, this top button always seems to come out. I think I might have like stretched the buttonhole to make it a bit too big, so that's my fault. But anyway, it's this beautiful, soft, fluffy Suri silk yarn. Like I wish I could convey through the camera how soft it is. It's the softest thing I've ever felt in my life. And it has this beautiful lace stitch across the front 2 panels, the sleeves and the back. I can show you the back as well. I feel like the back doesn't get enough love, but that's the back. This colorway just reminded me of marshmallows, so I thought that this would be the perfect base to get this colorway on. I did add, I think about 10 rows or something to the body just to make it a little bit longer than the first sample, which was very cropped. I got the cutest little buttons from a local like button/yarn shop near me, which was very lovely. And this yarn, I will say, it's wonderful. It's definitely like a bit softer and silkier than the mohair that I used for the original sample, so that also could just be why the buttons kind of keep coming undone. But yeah, I think that's probably just the yarn, because that didn't happen with my first samples. So I think just something about like the silky softness of the Suri is probably what it is, because I don't think there's any silk in the Take Care mohair. I think that's just mohair, merino, and polyamide, I'm pretty sure. Polyamide, however you say it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably what's causing the buttons to kind of slip off, but I haven't had too much of an issue when wearing it. Only really the top button will come undone every now and then, but I guess that's just something to keep in mind with this base if you're thinking about using it to make this pattern. But other than that, the gauge wise, it was perfect, and it knits up so nicely and it's so soft. I've got 2 more pieces to talk about. This next one, like I said, also a sample from my book. This is the Somewhere Over the Raglan jumper. Oh, I'm obsessed with it. Like it's so good. I do still need to add some elastic to the neckline, which I did for the first sample, and I definitely will do that for this one, just to make sure that it kind of cinches in a little bit more. Just like sometimes with like heavy pieces like this, with blocking and with wear, it can like stretch out a little bit. So yeah, I think I probably stretched this a bit more than I should have when I blocked it. So I'm definitely going to add that elastic to cinch that neckline in, and it's honestly just like a good thing to do in general, just to like prevent it from, you know, stretching and growing with wear, because when you have like heavier yarn and long sleeves and stuff, that can happen. So it's a good thing to have. I mean, pretty much most clothing that we wear has elastic in it somewhere, so why not put that in our knitwear? Like, I'm definitely going to still do that, so don't mind the fact that the neckline is a little bit wide. But this is it. I made it using Wool in the Gang Alpacino Merino, which is the same yarn I used for my original sample. But I decided to go for a more cool tone, you know, muted pastel color palette this time, rather than the super bright rainbow color palette that I went for the first round. So it definitely doesn't look as much like a rainbow, but it's still colorful, and I I love it. It's like the perfect like dichotomy to the first one that I made, because if I'm gonna make the same thing twice and have two of the same piece in my wardrobe, it needs to have a good point of difference. Like I said, the other one is a different yarn and this one is like a very different color palette, which means that like, you know, when I want to wear something more bright and fun, I can wear the other one, and when I want to wear something a bit more toned down and less like I want everyone to be looking at me at all times, then I'll wear this. So I'm super happy with how it turned out. I'd been planning on making a second one and a color palette of this vibe for a while, but then Wool and the Gang kindly reached out being like, hey, you want some yarn? I was like, yeah, sure thing. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that I love Wool and the Gang. I use their yarn all the time. I used it all throughout the book. None of that was gifted, or actually one of the patterns it was, but that was for a social media collab that I did with them, and I ended up using the yarn for one of the book patterns, but they didn't like overtly sponsor the book, which is fine. I didn't ask them to, but I used their yarn for quite a lot of the patterns, so it was very nice when they reached out to send me some yarn, because they haven't done that much, and that's totally fine. I live in Australia. I understand I'm far away. It's all good, but if they're gonna offer, I'm gonna say yes, because it is not cheap and I love it. So it's never gonna go to waste. So I ended up getting, yeah, the yarn to make this, and I also got a sweater quantity in this powder blue, same also in the Alcino Merino. So I don't know what I'm gonna make with that, but I really wanted to design something using this color because it's such a pretty color, and I just needed an entire jumper in that color. So I have that still sitting, waiting to be used. Maybe that will be my next cast on, who knows. I'll let you know which colors I use just in case you were wondering. So we have Ivory White, we have Cameo Rose, Lilac Punch, Powder Blue, Eucalyptus Green. So those are the 5 colors that I've used. This is really basic, like top down Raglan pattern. There's no like overt shaping at the front or the back, so you can wear it reversible. It's a striped pattern, obviously. You could use scrap yarn if you have a lot of scraps lying around and make it like crazy colorful if you want, and not just 5 colors, or you can use less than 5 colors if you want, and just you'll have to kind of adjust the amount of yarn that you'll need, but it's really customizable. You could also make it in a solid color. My mum made one of these, kind of like a modified version with a different neckline, like without the folded neckline, in a solid color, so it ended up looking quite different, but she still used the pattern. So it's very versatile and I definitely recommend. I also made this one a little bit longer than the original pattern. I don't know if this is me like exiting my crop knits phase. I don't think it is, but I had the yarn available to do it, and I just figured once again, like if I want this to like be different to the other one, I should probably make it, you know, slightly different in how it fits and stuff as well. So I made it a little bit longer, not too much, but just a little bit. Thank you so much to Wool and the Gang for sending me this yarn. So appreciated, and I can't wait to knit up the second jumper using this blue. I don't know what it'll be, but I'm sure it'll be great. Last but not least, I'm not gonna talk about this one for too long because I did an entire video documenting my process of knitting this from start to finish. So if you want all my thoughts throughout the whole process of making this, you can watch that video, but I did still want to mention it because it is one of my finished objects and you might not have seen that video. So this is the 6-in-1 top by Oops and Loops, and it is gorgeous. I absolutely love it. It's stunning. This was a test knit. The really cool thing about this pattern is that it's technically able to be worn in 6 ways. It's not actually like, I can't wear this specific thing in 6 ways. I can wear it in 2 ways. Like I can wear it like this with the front, or I can wear it like with this as the front and like an open back. But there's 3 different sleeves options. So there's the long sleeve, which I did. There's like a cap sleeve, which goes to like, I don't know about there. And then there's the sleeveless option. So there's just no sleeve and it would just be like that, like a tank top. So with each sleeve option, you can wear it 2 ways. So technically it's a 6-in-1, if that makes sense. It's a 6-in-1 pattern. It's not a 6-in-1 top. Hopefully that makes sense. It took me a bit to wrap my head around. I was like, oh. I was like, how am I supposed to wear this 6 ways? That's how. The cool thing about the long sleeve and the cap sleeve is that if you do the cap sleeve and then you decide you want to make it long sleeve afterwards, like you make the cap sleeve in summer and then when it gets cooler you want to turn it into long sleeve, you don't actually have to unravel anything except for the bind off, I guess, because the sleeves are started, like they've both worked in the same way, and then you just continue on with more decreases and stuff as you work the long sleeve. So that's really cool. I knitted this using Malabrigo Rios in the colorway Water Green. And this was also gifted to me. It was part of the yarn support that they provided for my book. I ended up overestimating how much yarn I needed for one of the patterns, like by a lot. Like I did really bad math, so that was totally my bad, but I did end up with like a bunch of extra skeins that I didn't use. So good thing that was gifted yarn, because if I'd paid for that, I probably would have been like, oh jeez, that was like an unnecessary amount of money spent. So lucky for me, I didn't pay for it, and also lucky for me, I have now been able to use the leftover yarn for a bunch of different projects. But yeah, I had more than enough to make this top in this color, and it's really different for me. I feel like I haven't got a piece like this in my wardrobe, especially like in this color. I don't know how much I'm gonna be wearing it with like this way. I do prefer it with the front, but I know that like as it's getting even colder, like especially once it gets to winter, like probably not gonna want to wear like this super open front top. But if I wear it this way and I wear like a jacket over it to cover my back, to make sure my back doesn't get cold, it's perfect. It's like a perfect layering piece. So I'm excited to kind of see how I can style this. And then obviously once the spring comes around, I feel like it will be perfect. It's got some bust shaping. It's really well written. There's German short rows on the sleeve. Really, really love the pattern. So creative, and Andrea is such a talented designer. And so it was an absolute honor to test for her. I have wanted to test for her for a while, but have never done it, and we've been friends for a while, and I was happy to be able to help her out. And yeah, I think the pattern is releasing, I think on the 18th, she said, so that's super soon. It's like just over a week's time from when I'm filming it, but probably about a week from when this goes live. So keep an eye out once again on her page at Oops and Loops on Instagram, and you'll know when the pattern is out. Okay, I have been recording this for an hour now. I don't know how time just passes so quickly when I'm talking about my knits. So I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun recapping everything that I've made over I want to say it's probably the last 2 months or so since I last filmed. So everything that I've finished, not everything I've made, everything I've finished, let's clarify. Not all of those were started and finished in a 2-month period of time, but everything I've finished in the last 2 months, and everything I'm kind of working on or have been working on in that time. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like. It really helps me out. Comment letting me know what you're working on or what was your favorite piece. I love reading your comments. I'm not the best at replying, but I promise I read every single comment that you leave me. But I think that's all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!